Yeah, I dig it. How about you guys? I didn't realize that hitting spacebar would simultaneously stop the song and transition us over. Hello, everybody. We got a full house. We got Bonnie in studio.
Hello.
It's hot. It's very hot.
It's bad outside. I don't know. How is it where you're at, Justin? Is it hot there?
Hot.
How hot is it? It's so hot. This is a joke opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's getting. I mean, normally the Bay Area is famous for its temperate climate, right?
Right. Allegedly, Mark Twain said one of his coldest winters was spent in the summer of San Francisco or something.
Yeah, I think that's apocryphal. Yeah. San Francisco is very, very cold, but famously, I think it's like October is the warmest month in the Bay Area. Because basically the thing that happens out here is that when it gets really hot during the summer, it creates the marine layer of fog. And so the marine layer of fog kind of stays over and blocks the sun during the hottest months. But when it starts to cool down a little bit, we don't get the marine layer, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, it's like 90 degrees and everybody's freaking out.
90 degrees. 90? Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh,
today,
90, sweet 90.
Yeah. Today,
well, but
I mean,
remember,
not
remember
that it's a contest.
that it's always no, but 90 without air conditioning.
Oh, that's right.
We don't have
because
you guys are backwards and
uncivilized.
Yeah.
Which I feel like you are one of the very few people who live in California that I can speak with abject anger about that weird belief that anybody doesn't need AC at all times.
Not. Nobody really believes that. Nobody really believes that you don't. But
they all say it. They all proudly tout it on their Airbnbs.
Yeah, and every kid that got punched in the eye because he didn't do dishes say that they have a tough dad. Like, you know, it's just it's like it doesn't mean that they would prefer to not get punched in the eye. It means that they have to deal with it whatever way they can.
Oh my gosh. You know, today Josie screamed in my ear like full on because she'd
not in anger at you.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Which makes it. Oh wait, sorry, I jumped ahead apparently in the story.
Yeah, no, she barely touched the like, you know, she was reaching in for her toast. She hit the side. It didn't even leave a mark, but she let out blood curdling scream right into my ear on my blind side, which for some reason it makes it worse when all this stuff happens on my blind side. Like,
sure.
And then to make it stop, I had the pot holder in my hand and I flapped at her hand, and it was like, you know, oh, call the police, this is child abuse. Like, she was all of a sudden just really freaked out and screamed again.
I like the fact that you almost said child balloons.
Child balloons.
Call the police, this is
99 child balloons.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, you know, that every kid that got punched in the eye because he didn't do the dishes had a bad dad, you know. Well, apparently Josie gets to tout about what a horrible mom I am because I slapped her with a dish rag. Yeah.
Oh, stop. Yeah. No, that's, I mean, if that gets told, then, you know, then all the kids that really got beat will just, you know, brush her off. Like, oh, really? A dish rag? Please tell me more.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was 103, 104 today, and we shot an episode about improvised backpacks, and I was very happy that of the two of us, Jason, you know, he made his out of a tarp and some sticks, and we some paracord, and also his fell apart while he was walking around, and all of a sudden it looked like he was having diarrhea. Just shit was falling out.
Oh, gross.
Whereas I made mine out of my pants. So I walked around in flip-flops and my underwear in 100-degree heat.
Totally normal.
And I felt great about it.
You know, it's just what you would expect in a formal nudist colony.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's funny is I didn't think much of it at the time. But then, like, we came inside and I went to go turn down the AC, and I saw that it was already set to 69. And then I said, well,
nice.
Okay, but what's the real temperature? And it said 69. And I'm like, no. This can't be the truth. Because, like, I don't know, your body gets so hot just by being outside, and it takes so long for it to, you know, relax.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's
new
pretty
rule:
much-
we start shooting at midnight. That's our new rule.
I mean, you guys
Is that
could
it?
get up in
Fully
the morning.
nocturnal from now on.
If you got up at like 6 and caught the first golden hour, And
All right. That's actually we had a discussion about that because if we're gonna do, we're having some special guests in who are gonna teach us how to smoke meats, and
I know how to smoke meats.
and that's
Yeah.
and that was the discussion. I was like, look, contrary to popular opinion, I am not opposed to being awake before the sun comes up, as long as there's a not being awake afterwards. so the current plan is to wake up and shoot like the beginning at 5:30 in the morning, and then take the day off, and then suddenly it's 8 o'clock at night, and then well, we have smoked meats.
It sounds like the perfect day.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a plan. I like that. That actually just sounds like a fun summer day.
It does. It sounds like what a lot of people do, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, y'all are gonna smoke them meats, and then you're gonna go home and sleep all day.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I can't be expected to be awake at the sunrise and the sunset. I mean, come on.
Okay. Well, Justin, are you a
Yeah.
melatonin believer or non-believer?
I'm a convert. We were talking about this on the show.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like melatonin always felt to me like all right, they're like what, vitamins or some shit. and then I started taking melatonin, sleep right through the night, have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. Like I'm shocked at how effective it seems to be.
Yep. That is a thing. I'm a little.
This message brought to you by melatonin. We are totally being paid by them.
By them. Yeah. It took a long time to get you there.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways.
I don't even know what melatonin is.
Oh, it's like an herbal supplement. So, which is I've always regarded as code words for fake thing.
Dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I mean, if it is a placebo, please nobody tell me, because it seems to be a very powerful placebo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, because you
Although
are.
I'm told a placebo works even if you know it's a placebo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. I'm going to placebo it up then.
Well, yeah, because you have a hard time sleeping, Brad.
Yes,
right?
I do.
It's like a thing.
Yeah, no, I've been sleeping through the night. I overslept for our 11 a.m. call time earlier this week, but that was after a night attack shoot, so
Yeah.
late bedtime.
Late.
So what have you been up to?
Just wrapped and posted the PX3 back to school special. Interviewed a bunch of experts on what options are available to parents, which ones aren't. Interviewed my brother and sister-in-law because they do a parenting podcast called the Young Family Podcast about not only their own kids and decisions and living in Orlando during the recent flare-up, but also them being in touch with other parents across the country and what they're thinking about. And then talked to a couple experts that are out of DC talking about how all of this is being paid for and whether or not it will continue to be paid for with this new congressional bill that has yet to happen. And it was co-hosted by Tamar, who books the show because I wanted as few childless voices on the back to school show as possible. I wanted it to be mostly people that know what the hell they're talking about, as opposed
So
to
are they
my
sending their
bleeding
kids
voice
back to school, or like I feel like once you've had a taste of, if you're able to accommodate having your kids around, I mean, I feel like our kids are doing plenty of learning, not at school.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, who? Which of the people that I
Your
that I
brother,
listed?
your brother.
Well, that my nephew and niece, one is 2 and the other's 4, so it's a little bit less of a situation, but they're both going to daycare. Daycare like is open still in Orlando. So that's they're sending them there, but they are definitely trying to make some decisions on what to do when kindergarten rolls around next year, specifically if we're still dealing with some of the effects of all this, and depending on where my sister-in-law is currently furloughed, so whether or not she has a job, like, and whether or not she would transition to kind of taking care of the kid full time, or if she would send the kid to school. So it's a wide ranging discussion involving all of these issues.
If we could take a brief sojourn into politics, I mean, I guess what? We're 2.5 months away from Election Day. Is that right?
Yeah. Less than 90 days away.
Things that it would take to have Trump get reelected. I guess at least somebody saying out loud, there's a vaccine coming any minute now, or what else? The economy showing a rebound, or
I mean, he could get reelected right now. Like there's nothing that would stop him from getting reelected right now, depending on exactly how many people come out and vote. It's like you can take as many polls as you want, but in a low turnout election, it tends to favor the people that are the most excited to vote. As much as Trump is kind of not liked by a wide variety of people, the question is exactly how many are going to make sure that they go out and vote via vote by mail or go out in person. So it's like, yeah, things could happen. I mean, that's the stuff that we're going to cover. But at the end of the day, people wind up coming home to their tribes. We're a fairly evenly split country. And if Trump's new, line of discussion is that the Democratic Party is further left than it's ever been before. So no matter how much you think that Biden is not super far left, that the party is going there, and he's very obviously not in control of himself as he is in noted decline. And so I think that's the idea. So it's like, I don't think that anything, like, yes, all those things that you mentioned could happen, but I think it's going to be a close election no matter what.
Question. Do people like Kamala Harris? I understand she checks a lot of boxes that people want to see checked.
Oh, Brian, don't you know that's like the most misogynist thing you could say is whether a female candidate is likable? It is like taboo to ask if a woman who is,
yeah.
So
I did do an episode where I walked around in my underwear.
Yeah. That's true.
I will say this: being from the Bay Area, there's a very weird thing that happens, and both these politicians happen to be women, but both with Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris, they are like, Nancy Pelosi is reelected every time she's up for election by like Saddam Hussein margins, like it's like 90-10, whoever she's running against, right? I don't know if I've ever met anybody that lives in San Francisco that's like, I'm a huge Nancy Pelosi fan. Like, same with Kamala Harris. Like, she's from Oakland. There were certainly signs in certain windows and everything for Kamala. Her headquarters in Oakland was right down the road from me. But I didn't know. The only times that I've ever like randomly struck up conversations back in days where I used to sit at bars because bars existed. I remember the one time that I had mentioned that I thought Kamala Harris was going to do well in a random conversation with a random person. This dude was like, Kamala Harris is the Michelle Bachmann of the Democratic Party. Like, she is divisive and not great. And so I don't know. This is a very liberal area. It's a very progressive area. Both Pelosi and Kamala have not been as progressive, I think, as many of the denizens of this, the kind of vanguard of that sort of thought, geographically would demand. But they're very successful. And I think for Kamala, despite the fact that she failed in running for president for herself with her at the top of the ticket, she certainly seems to be somebody that has generated a lot of fundraising excitement. They raised like $48 million in 48 hours after the announcement. So obviously some people are excited to hork over money.
So, what about how are debates going to happen? Are they going to be Zoom debates or what?
Pretty sure that it's going to be in English. Like,
English?
I think it's going to be an English language debate. No, in person. They're doing it in person. They're going to go and, hopefully, for God's sakes, hopefully they'll be able to, safeguard the president. $2 billion operations should hopefully be able to get their candidates to a location in a safe manner and let them debate and then take them back to wherever they need to go. As of now, everything is in person. Although I am with JDS3K in that the debates will be hilarious. They will be shit shows.
Oh my God.
Certainly between the main contenders, and it makes me feel like almost the VP debates are the real ones to
I know,
watch,
that's
right?
like the only thing that's going to be of interest. I can't imagine.
I mean, I think that's actually an interesting kind of styles make fights sort of thing, because Kamala is at her best when she is prosecutor lady. Like, she has like a very prosecutorial, like.
Gotcha.
And so you think that this is something, right? And so what you would say is that tablecloth is definitely red, right?
Now
Is that
explain to
correct?
me,
Yeah.
how is it that a red tablecloth is in any way consistent when you just said that free speech isn't free?
Yeah. Whereas like Mike Pence is a very kind of traditional Republican debater, but I don't think he's bad. He just is very like, he's one of those like, it's like smile, like, oh. It's like, I always just imagine like, he's always like kind of like 50s dad.
He's always
sort of like,
he's always thinking of a Nancy comic he read that morning.
Oh, look at that. You should have seen what Marmaduke was up to today. Like that dog, boy.
I mean, right between them, he and the missus were about to get, and then the dog.
Sometimes I look at that Dagwood comic and say, I'd like a sandwich like that.
The more I think about it, the more I think Dennis, he is a menace. Like, that's not how I'd want my son to act.
I mean, to be fair, I'm a little bit more Mr. Wilson than Dennis the Menace, if you catch my drift.
Oh, that sounds weird. I don't even know. What does that mean?
What it means is I love being aggravated by little boys. That's
I'm very I like to be angry at children.
I shake my fists on my porch. There's shenanigans.
J.C. Calhoun points out he had a radio show, so it's like he is a good talker, and he understands kind of like the red meat of it all. So I think he's going to be able to hit his bases, but that's going to be an interesting debate. Ultimately, we're going to see like Godzilla versus Mothra, though, like with Biden Trump is just it will go off the rails immediately. Like I don't even know what the concept of discipline will be.
2 men
in
enter.
That debate.
1 sentence will be completed. Who will be the one to have a cogent thought on Mothra versus Godzilla nights?
I mean, that's the thing, is that Biden, especially lately, is so thin-skinned. Like, he takes things that shouldn't really even read as insults and acts like somebody just like spit in his face and reacts like so aggressively. Trump will almost certainly exploit that. But then again, like the stuff that made headlines last time was like Trump saying things that were like either inappropriate or incoherent, and Hillary either like batting them back or just being like, this guy, right? And I don't think we're going to get any of that this time. I mean, like both in all of Biden's debates in the past, I mean, he had what I thought was historically one of the most insane debates ever. It was like a Looney Tunes cartoon with him and Palin. And then when Mitt Romney won the first debate over Obama in 2012, Biden kind of stemmed the tide by just totally grinning and laughing and acting like kind of a lunatic while Paul Ryan just stood there and was like, I would like to get my points across, please. So this time, all bets are off.
So this tweet was about Donald Trump, but I feel like it applies just as well to Biden. Sarah Cooper says Donald Trump reminds me of this Fred Armisen character who can't finish a single sentence. Like, picture either of the two characters.
I wake up like anybody. I was taught most Americans, education, any border, if Helsinki, if Oslo, I think any publication, isn't it integral? Isn't it the most important? It's the substance. It's the very idea that we can unite. That makes me feel personal. I'm not. Look.
Do you have a point? Do you have an actual point?
Do I have a point? Do I have a? Do we? Here's a better. No. Here's a better question.
Why was this funny ever? I have to see this all the time.
Will you?
Will you? Yeah, no, this is the debate. That's footage from the future.
Yeah.
That character is one of the funniest things. Like, Fred Armisen is such a talented comedian because he taps into these little like moments so well, and you see it so much on Portlandia, but like that one almost hurts. I feel like that one speaks to my soul. Like, for the amount of times that I've gotten done talking and people have just looked at me like,
they just tilted their head.
What among that am I supposed to respond to? Like, even today, I was editing the interviews for the podcast, and I was like, I began the thing with like, so when are parents going to know if it's safe? And then went a full minute and a half of saying other words that were also just me asking the question that I had asked in like 4 words at the beginning, and I felt shame, just great shame, like marking out a minute and a half of garbage just so I could get to the one thing that I did.
Aww.
But yeah, no, that character is so funny.
Is there any way? I'm your friend, correct?
Brian's sneaking some sly eye to me. Yes, I talk like that too. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. We figure it out.
Yeah.
I think I always used to write that off as it's smart people whose brain is going faster than their mouth. And so but of course I say that because I want to consider myself smart. So it's like, of course I write, why do I talk so incoherently? I'm too smart. That's why.
I do think that's a real thing though, but then I think there's the flip side of that where it's like, was that the introduction to a SpaghettiOs commercial you just said? like are you just saying things you remember?
Are you looking at me?
No.
Saying that?
Well, I'm looking at you, hoping that
definitely.
you will know who I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking that you're thinking of me.
No,
and
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
we're
no,
getting divorced tomorrow.
No. Sorry, what
I'm not that bad. Yes,
sorry,
I
what I
agree.
meant to say was
Your personality. Look. I love
Your
we love.
personality.
We're on. I would be there at the very least. At the very most. I think as soon as we start, as soon as we know.
You know what else I think this is? I think there is a certain amount of trying to be submissive in a conversation, to be likable, and to be able to have conversations that don't bring on some kind of conflict, even if you want to introduce.
that you are trying to course correct even mid-sentence.
Right.
Because you want it to land exactly the way that you want it to land.
Right. And if you're trying to deliver
that way
something,
being in the least offensive way possible, like better to not even finish a sentence than to say something that might upset somebody.
Exactly. Almost like if you were to drive a direct punch that like velocity would
Yeah.
bring a lot more ouch with it. But then if you zigzag it, like he's doing with this conversation, and not really finish that force at any point, then
I think that that's true, because there are times where I have said things that I didn't mean to sound mean or aggressive, but between like either how I look or my intensity or my furrowed brows or my tone of voice, that for whatever reason just sounds mean to people, and I recoil from that. Like I feel like I'm Edward Scissorhands. That I'm just like, why?
Like,
Why?
I am made of knives. Nothing I can do.
Yes, I totally get that. I do.
And I don't know what it is, but I've gotten it for like the majority of my life. In fact, it was something that I had to realize, because through my teenage years and into college, I had, like many, kind of low self-esteem, or I didn't really think that like what I did mattered in anybody's life. And then I had to kind of realize, like, oh no, wait, like I need to understand that for whatever reason, when I say things either in a funny way or I'm trying to be funny, like people's perception of me is I'm trying to make jokes, which is a very short jump to I'm making fun of them.
Right.
And like, and that's something that I need to realize other people think, even if I would never think that like I'm trying to make a joke at somebody's expense that I just met. Like if it's a good friend or something like that, then it's like, okay, well then that's the language of intimacy or whatever. But like,
Right.
Otherwise I would never want to do that. And yet, like, I would talk to people and they're like, yeah, I really thought you were a dick because you were making fun of me the first time we met. And I'm like, no, who gave me these scissors for hands?
Yes.
On the flip side, I mean, it is definitely like, I go back to that first time we ever met, and there was something that it wasn't an insult so much as just a
jab.
Right. And it's like, and I was like, we are going to be very good friends.
Yes.
Hey, both Bonnie and Justin have had that experience where there was kind of an instant falling in love, and it was specifically because I was like, ouch, do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a similar experience with my communication, except it's more like a dude bro energy that is, I just come across as really.
You read as good hang. Like, I think that like you can walk in and there's like an element that the aura of Bonnie is like good hang incoming.
That's a great
Thank
a great
you.
t-shirt.
That is a really nice
good hang incoming
presentation.
should be just a t-shirt.
Yeah, anybody want to design that for me? I'd love you forever.
That's amazing.
No, that'd be great. No, who doesn't like that is very prim and proper women. Like they don't.
Or women who are
threatened about
infatuated with status.
Status, yeah. If you're
women who feel like they've climbed a ladder and
they don't need me coming in and
all three of us are not ladder climbers, right?
Yeah.
We're all Kool-Aid man.
Yes!
We kick in the fucking door and we're here, and then we're like, anyway, bye.
By
Some
the way,
people don't like that.
I realize
love the
now.
Kool-Aid man.
I realize now how much I know for a fact that you have good hang or Bonnie, because I felt it even the first time that we met, which was when you came out of your room
To
in the
yell at
Orlando
us.
property with, if I remember correctly, a recently awoken baby.
Yes.
because Brian and I were being too loud the first night that we were hanging out. And even then it was like a very like, okay, boys, you're at a 10. We need it at a 6. And it was like, all right.
Yeah, that was definitely Josie who was having a hard time getting back to sleep after the multiple times of being woken. And then you guys never did get quiet. I just gave up. And,
No.
Yeah.
Well, that was that. But then again, because there's a good hang. And you're like, hey, look, you want to know what am I going to do to get in the way of a good hang?
I will not lie. That is exactly what went through my head. I was just like, well, they're having a good time. So good for them. But gosh.
Yeah, no, but that is your commitment to the cause, and it is understood and implicitly transmitted, in my opinion.
Right. I have transcended the hierarchy and just decided it's just not worth it.
But you were so you were saying that in general, while that is a tremendous a boon to some, to specifically like prim and proper women, that is something that comes off as what, like too chummy or not recognizing status, or
imagine. Let me do my best to.
Here, Brian probably has a better perspective because
the
outside. This
is totally me mansplaining, but what I want to do is see how close to accurate I get.
Right.
Within a hierarchy or a structure, whether it's the PTA or a scouting
Girl
organization
Scout,
or something like that, there's a ladder and you make it on up, right? And so anybody who doesn't earn it, whatever it is, it needs to be put in their place. And then you try the gentle things that have worked on everybody beneath you, casually reminding them that, well, that's not the way we do it. And then you don't know how to handle when the response is, why not? That's dumb. and then now all of a sudden you're dealing with an animal you don't understand. There's some amount of that.
Right.
Am I warm on this one?
I think you're right. I think that unpredictability, because like that works on everybody else except this person, and now I'm scared. And I think that's like the weird thing is like kind of the actual like frightened approach to it, like this needs to be handled.
Let me throw this very weird metaphor that I'm making up right now. Yeah. It's like having Jay Leno show up at your Burger King team meeting, and it's like you don't know why he's here, you don't know why he would be remotely qualified to say anything at your Burger King team meeting. But you also don't feel entitled or empowered to. None of your tricks will work on him because it's Jay Leno. And so that's very confusing. And so it's like the thing you want is for Jay Leno to go away.
Yeah, essentially. So you know what? Scouts and PTA can bite my ass. I'm not even going to send my $10 to the parent-teacher organization this year. I have signed you up every year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I even doing this? These guys are assholes. Like, I tried to get up there with another parent who has like food allergy kids, right? And we went up there and we're like, hey, you realize that there's absolutely nothing at this school for our child to eat. Zero. And it's illegal to not be able to feed our children at least a little bit. Like even on the snack aisle, there's not anything.
You're talking about the meeting that I was there for, right?
No, you were not there.
Yeah, we went together.
No, you did not go to the PTA meeting.
Oh, not the PTA. Yeah. No, we had a private meeting.
Yeah, we had a private meeting. But then we also had this PTA thing. But then like this other woman who's like a total ladder climber, like, so I got up and I gave an impassioned speech that was like, think of this and everything. And everybody was like,
Your speech was, won't somebody think of the children?
Right. And the other lady is now on the school board and has overhauled the whole like food system from the inside. So she was like way more effective. And now like her gluten-free kid has foods all on the line. So I don't know.
But they're all made of chicken or?
No, I mean, they are what they are. But I just was like, you know what? You guys aren't a fun hang, and that's what is.
That's what you're committed to.
I am committed to
the good hangs.
Yeah, like if you can't even have fun in this conversation, or even at a like fall fair, God.
I mean,
how can you not have fun at a fall fair?
There's only so much patience you can have for some of this nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just kind of malarkey, IMO.
I got
Just stupid.
I got confronted by a Karen because I dared to offer some insight on how to make the karaoke work better. Like the topic of the discussion was,
why was this not your opening statement? Because I feel like we have an hour here. Walk me all the way into this story.
No, there was like they were upset because like their children couldn't be the star like they wanted to with karaoke. So their whole karaoke booth was just dead. And like karaoke should kill because all the other schools are raising lots of money on tickets to the karaoke.
Sorry, so wait, hold on, where is this booth? Like, set the scene a little bit.
Okay, every October it is blistering hot, like the Bay Area, and
like our dope rhymes.
Right, and then they come, and then we have like a. Like an outdoor gymnasium and the outdoors where they persecute children with activities.
Persecute
in the name,
them with activities.
Like, they're all supposed to have fun, but they're sweating because it's so hot still in October. But like, so fall fun fair, right?
I have 2 cousins.
Stop it! You were
No, that's
such an
just
asshole.
mocking.
That was mean.
That's
That was
just
mean. That was
mocking.
mean. But what I'm saying is, if I'm piecing it together, there's a fall fun fair. There are multiple booths. This booth was not doing very well.
This booth was not doing well, and the Karen in charge of it was lamenting why it wasn't doing well. And I made suggestions because, oh my God, we're in the industry of putting on shows and everything. And
you are quite literally the most qualified consultant. Like, you're lucky they're not paying you for your advice.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I suggested that they have a little stage riser.
Yeah.
And some lights.
Yeah.
And if they have to turn down the lights or it's not fun.
In other words,
besides it's really hot. So it's going to attract people to think the darker area will be cooler. And then you'll see the lights. Yeah. And then you have the music and it'll feel important enough to do.
Oh my God, I'm terrified that this story ends with them not taking your advice.
Oh, no, they didn't. No, absolutely not. I got chewed out because I dared give advice.
Because you gave advice at all, right?
Yeah,
because that was like, they read it as you know, Captain Phillips, like I'm the captain now. My advice means that I'm the expert, and therefore what you did was garbage.
Right.
Well, and like I guess also you run dangerously close to some version of the phrase, "Do you know who I am?" Or do you know why you should listen to me or whatever?
And I just won't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like they all knew. And I think that was like during the time that you had the TV show, like the.
Oh, while I was on National Geographic?
Show. And then I didn't like spread that around to get spread around.
Right.
So then,
right.
Anyways, Karen's, am I right?
I mean, but that's something that unfortunately never goes away. There's this thought that maybe people will become more mature or more secure in themselves, and that's one of the fun things I've noticed as I've now processed into my late 30s is like, no, as it turns out, nobody does. Nobody gets more secure. Nobody gets more comfortable in their own skin. Like if you get busier. You have more stuff you need to do. Maybe you think about it a little less. There's a little less time for navel gazing than when you were a teenager. But in general, no, most people just have low self-esteem, and they have low self-esteem for their entire lives. And therefore, you have to work around it. You have to
what you don't realize as you, the not insecure person who is doing well, like through no fault of your own. I think the Edward Scissorhands is a good metaphor because it's just like everything about you becomes sharper, and it's not your fault. It happens by virtue of getting older. It happens by virtue of you getting more successful. It even happens by virtue of somebody close to you getting more successful. But all of a sudden, you are made of blades, and you have to be careful because there's everyone else is made of balloons.
Yes, that's the thing that I had to express to Penny because she's very, very perceptive, right? Like she just walks in a room, she's got everybody tagged, like, okay, I see what's going on here. And then when she gets angry, or when she used to get angry, like she might have this moment of having to advocate for herself. And then in 2 cases that she's gotten in the worst trouble, she has called it like she's seen it. And she told the one kid, you don't have an original bone in your body. So therefore, the mom had us kicked out of Scouts.
Yeah.
Because of that one statement, because she nailed it, right?
Yeah.
Like she totally got it. And then the other one was you are so stupid. And that was it. It was just, and there weren't any cuss words. There was nothing else. It's just like she saw through all the bullshit, called it like she saw it, and therefore she got kicked out of that private school. So, those are 2 statements.
Tell you what, man, turns out to conduct an assassination, you don't need a gun. You don't need a nuke.
No.
You could get away with a
telling
knife.
the truth. You can just tell the truth like you see it. So, but she's
Pair
doing
of
great at
scissors.
school, and she knows she has scissor hands now. So she's doing
Well,
just
I mean,
fine.
but that's part of it is realizing, it was what I used to love the most about X-Men as a comic was that every character kind of had this awkward adolescent origin story of how their powers affected them negatively before you ever saw them use them to save the world, right?
I never made that connection. I do too. Yeah.
Like it always started out with, and I'm not naming an actual thing, but like Iceman accidentally freezing the water and ruining his parents' plumbing system, and now he's in trouble or something, right?
Right.
Like before he builds a bridge that gets the X-Men over to, knock out Magneto or something. Like there's always a moment of a price that's paid before you get a reward. And then, for Penny, that's a sign that there's a keen observation. It's just, okay, well, how do you use it? And how don't you use it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I suppose there's also, in terms of the how don't you use it, it's there have been those whoopsie doodle Dark Phoenix moments where it's like, oh my, yes, there's power here, but it can be misapplied.
Yeah.
TIL.
Well, certainly, yeah. I mean, everything can be, and that's, hell, it's a lesson that I think we assign to children, we assign to adolescents, but like, it's not just that. I mean, I know for myself, part of a thing that I like to do is critique others' work and try to make it better. And I realized very quickly that I can't do that. Like it is something that is a delicate thing that, both in my own understanding of how much I want my work critiqued and when I want my work critiqued, like that there's a time and place for it. And also, there is an element of, okay, well then why isn't my work better? Like how, if I'm so good at it, why aren't I applying, like, why am I thinking outside and looking outside my own stable of things that I can do? And that was a big decision for me even recently over the last like 5 years, is just being like, no, let's be selfish with that. Number one, because you're being fucking annoying to anybody around you if all you're doing is, hey, you know what you could do? I have an idea. Like, but also, beyond that, just saying like, no, make your stuff better, listen to your stuff and have keep that same energy for the work that you're doing to continue to evolve it. If it's such good fucking advice, then you should be doing better.
Yeah. Man, that's a good question. Is what is the kindest way to respond to somebody who is, engaging in correcting your work and uninvitedly, right? Like, I don't want to limit it just to YouTube comments, but we get a lot of people, and about half of the YouTube comments boil down to you should have done it like this. And depending on how they say it, they get various responses ranging from no to you're not my real dad to whatever. But my favorite of the responses is, and usually it's Brant who says it. He just says, "What are you hoping to accomplish with this comment?" And that is like no, I've never seen, number one, a response or anything that makes, the closest to a response you'll get is like, "Hey man, you don't have to be so sensitive about it. I'm just trying to help you out." And it's like, all right, it's,
Is that like we watched that video on the first follower? Is that them just coming in and trying to get advice almost? Like that's their way of doing the dance?
I think it's them. I perceive it as somebody grabbing power to which they are not entitled yet. They're on set right next to you, and they know that the director is next to them. So they're watching the scene, and they feel as if by leaning over and saying, what you should have done is this, suddenly the director will be all like, "Oh my God, I never really thought of that. Thank you. You're totally cool." And of course, that will never ever happen, Whereas the first follower, we watched that on the air, right, Justin? The first follower.
I don't know what you're talking about. No.
It's only 90 seconds long. It's from Derek Sivers, the guy who wrote Anything You Want. He talks about how we perceive the leader. Hold on, the first follower. There you go. We perceive as follower.
You can spell.
There we go. So basically, this is at the Gorge in George Washington, and it's 2.5 minutes, and it's everything you need to know about creating a cult, basically.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. See, it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is overglorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
Complete with the air horn at the end. Yeah, I think that people perceive themselves as helping by throwing in their advice and
being part of the crowd or something, I guess.
Yeah. But I don't know that I've ever had it land with me quite that way. Like, have you ever gotten a comment from YouTube and you're like, "Fuck, I should really redo all of this"?
Well, I am not a lunatic who reads YouTube comments, but then again, I don't have 2 successful YouTube channels, so there is that. But I've tried to get better at it. I've tried to understand them. They come a lot less frequently for me, both in podcasting and in audience size compared to you. But in general, I try to understand what they are getting at. But the biggest thing now is realizing how much nobody comments on stuff that they think sucks, even if they're saying it sucks, even if they're making a comment that you're interpreting as being very aggressive. The only time that people comment is when they're bound to something, or when they, even beyond their own understanding of it, they feel a connection to it. And it brings up either an element of altruism, where they do really feel like they are helping, right? Or it is in a backhanded way of, I want this to be better because I feel like it could be.
Yeah. Once you divorce the direction of the energy from the content, then you just realize this is energy, and whatever I'm doing is causing energy. It's awakened something in somebody else's heart. And we've talked about this before. It's like when you're trying to cross the Atlantic by sail, you don't worry when the wind blows the wrong way. You worry when there's no wind.
Oh, sure. I mean, again, nobody, the worst thing in the world is no comments. The worst thing in the world is no email. The worst thing in the world is no interaction, because then nobody cares. Now it's funny. I've been redoing the set here and everything, and I've never ever for a live stream gotten as many people telling me suggestions of things to do.
Now, but this is also happening in a moment of flux where you're most open to hearing it, right? Or are you?
Is it? I mean, like, I'm going in a direction. Sure, it wasn't done overnight, but I stream every day. So it's like at a certain point I have to put, I have to put a pin in what I have gotten done and then move it on. I've got a vision for it. And certainly it's a vision that doesn't include some of the suggestions. But what I had to kind of come to realize is that it isn't about me being annoyed that they don't see my vision, or me being frustrated that they are critiquing what I have and wish it was something else. It is a tremendous compliment, because they see something beautiful in their own head. And now if I am that close to, if what people see is an 8, they want to be a 10, and I see an 8 that I want to be a 10, it's just in a different direction, then that's fine. I need to make them part of my journey. I need to explain to them what I am trying to do and why what they want me to do doesn't get me there. But that's collaborative and not insulting, in a way that I think in another phase of my life, I would have just read it as like, I've told you guys what I want to do. Jesus, you don't have to suggest it for the 50th time. Like, instead, it's a connection, which I'm happy about.
They even mentioned in that video where it's like part of the leader's job is to make it easy to follow, and part of making it easy to follow is to, with clarity, explain what you're aiming for. So if somebody sends you something that is off, like then it's a gentle correction and not a harsh one.
Well, I mean, I think the make it easy to follow thing is something that you're exceptionally good at in the branding and understanding of what something is. Like, I think in the world of online content, there is this friction of, and I certainly fall into this camp, the like, no, like I will do exactly what I want to do. And the people that will find me, and the people that don't, piss off, who cares, blah, 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 right? Where you are exceptional, not only in your own creations, but also in your advice about like, no, you have a great internal sense of like a consumer sense of, oh, I look at that and I see a dog. Like I look at that cloud, that's Abraham Lincoln. So if the cloud is your art, then you have to, at the very least, understand that most people are going to look at that and say Abraham Lincoln, even if you want it to be something else. And you have to take them on that journey. Now it'll be a frictionless path, or less friction, a path with less friction than anything else. And that's the key. Making it easy to follow is often making it easy to understand, to grok on any level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tend to think of it in simpler terms, where it's just like, it's literally just the word simpler. Like what's extra? What could be cut and get us faster to the point? And I think that's part of the reason I've seen much more success on YouTube than on television or even on stage, is because YouTube rewards that sensibility.
Well, I mean, television's its own circle of hell. I'm just saying, like, the artist doesn't succeed on television, the politician does. To have a good television show is to get a good bill through Congress.
Right.
Like it is
to know all the people who know all the people who you can massage all the things and finally it's your turn because you did this thing for that guy, and now it's finally you got uncredited on this project, so now you get to be credited on this project. And it was a good one.
Whereas, like, for stage, it's a slow burn.
Yeah,
like it is the thing where I think if you had more of a like lifelong passion to be on Broadway or something, like if you really desperately wanted to be the biggest stage magician that you possibly could, and Brian Brushwood sells out UT Stadium or something, I feel like you would have continued on that path to do more stage stuff, as opposed to the stage stuff being a fantastic vocation. But as soon as you had a show that you liked, that you were proud of, that kept getting booked, it was like, cool, I got this. And then obviously you had interests beyond it. You had interest for television, you had interest for video stuff, and that's what you've honed, and that's what you've taken to the next level. I think the difference between all those things is how much you're involved. Quite frankly, the more you're involved, the more you're dialed in, the better the product is, because you're an exceptional talent.
Well, it's very kind of you, but now we're at the hour, so we have to end on a compliment to Brian.
Another one? Jesus Christ. Fucking load them up, huh?
Yeah, I love that.
Bonnie, tell us something that makes you happy.
Something that makes me happy?
That doesn't involve me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good trap, because if she says nothing.
No. Okay. I love that my kids sing all the time.
Really?
Yeah, like all day long. They are like making up mad rhymes. I was just like, man, Josie, you can't be singing poop and pee and mom doesn't love me. And then she's like, oh, that's a new rhythm.
That's a good one.
And then it became the next half hour. So that's what I like. It's good.
Right on. What about you, Justin? Best thing this week?
Brian Brushwood smile.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I forgot to give the proviso. Justin Roberts Young's good taste. That's the best thing.
There we go.
There we go. All right. We love you guys. We'll see you on Monday.
See ya.
Happy hour.
Bye.
This should be playing right now. Let's see. Let's see. Can you play? Maybe I'll reboot. All right, hold on. And go. And there it is. All right.
Happy hour. Night Attacks Happy Hour. Night Attacks Happy Hour.